Good morning, everybody. Tune into Crackcore. Thank you for being here today. Today is Wednesday, the 12th of April, 2023. So, today we're talking about BPAs and other such poisons that are apparently in your bottles, on your frying pans such as Teflon, in your foods, GMOs, all those kind of things. Basically, you can apparently detox your home, detoxify your body, and all of these things. But you see, there's a greater plan at work, as there always seems to be in this wonderful world that we call Prime Earth, even though it might not be Prime Earth. This is apparently Simulation Earth. You know what? Hats off to the man David Icke, man. You know, he explains an awful lot with his hologram simulation theory. It does explain an awful lot, but that's not why we're here today. We're talking about poisons, toxins. So I watched a video the other day. There was a lady on the video talking about how certain bottles have certain chemicals in the plastics, and the plastics can absorb into the liquid that's in the bottle. And based on the number within that little triangle made out of arrows at the bottom of the bottle, it tells you how to recycle it, right? But ultimately what that does is it tells you what's actually in the bottle at the same time, because you know what chemicals are in there, in the plastics, what type of plastic it is, because they need to know how to recycle each individual type, because they're only going to recycle it like for like, aren't they? So ultimately, by a process of elimination, you can find out what's in it, and then when you find out what's in it, you can find out what damage it's going to do to your body. I mean, I'll be honest, I was surprised at the extent to which these chemicals can actually affect you, like on a fucking molecular level, man. These things, there's like endocrine inhibitors and stuff. Like, that's mad stuff. Like, and this is the this is the thing, right? It's known that that's what they do, and yet they still make the bottles, and they still put stuff in them, and they still sell them to you. Don't you think that's weird? At this point, at this stage in the game, probably not. You know, if you're like me, then you probably don't think that's weird at all. I mean, there was a huge drive about, I don't know, 15 years ago on bottled water, wasn't there? Being the way forward. I wonder why. You know, people find out that there's fluoridated water and what fluoride does to you, and they say, okay, we'll give you bottled spring water. People are like, oh, well, there's lots of minerals and stuff in the water that I'm buying. There might not be any fluoride. There probably is. But there might not be any fluoride, but you're getting poisons in the bottle instead. Of course. And this is my point. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter what you take out of your diet. You're going to find it somewhere else, man. I saw another video recently of a woman washing some fruit. She puts water in 2 glasses. One of the glasses has got alkalized water in it. The chemicals that they spray on fruit, apparently, to deter insects and other life forms from eating it has to come with a waterproof aspect to it. Otherwise, the rain would just wash it off, and pests and critters and stuff would just come and fucking destroy the fruit anyway. So it has to be waterproof. So washing your fruit in normal water apparently makes no difference. You have to have alkalized water, and as it showed on this video, the alkalized water, when the fruit was suspended in there, went brown, like a grey-brown colour, and the other water remained perfectly clear. Now, this is probably having a reaction. It could just be the fact that the alkali is having a reaction to something, and it still might be coming off in the other water. It's just not having that chemical reaction. So the jury's out on that. Skeptical is healthy, cynical probably not, as I recently heard. But at the same time, it's also possible that it's alkalized water that gets it off, and therefore washing it just under normal tap water does nothing at all. Because it makes sense, doesn't it, to make it waterproof? Therefore, when you come to wash your fruit, it's not going to come off unless it's got another aspect to the water that breaks through that waterproof agent, whatever chemical it is that makes it waterproof. So it's everywhere. If you buy fruit, if you buy, organic meats, doesn't matter what you do these days, it's all gonna be full of crap. They're getting you any which way they can. Now, obviously, I've got a theory, and here it comes. In my opinion, the truth of the matter is this: we're meant to serve a life sentence here on Earth, and we're meant to feed our oligarchs. That's what we're here for. Earth Incorporated, let's not forget that. Earth is a business. This planet is an absolute model of business. It's good business to keep your livestock alive for as long as they can serve you before you take them to the culling shed and put a bolt in their brain. Ultimately, that's where we are. That's how we are seen and treated on this planet by the people that run it, whoever they may be. And what they want is a subdued, compliant workforce that won't question when asked, to do as they're told, and that will have little to no mental or physical strength to do anything should they decide to rebel. So what do? Oh, and by the way, they want you to have a certain lifespan so they can judge how long you will live based on the amount of toxins that they're putting in your diet, so that when they go to the global banking system and lend, money from them to make themselves richer so they can invest in other stuff, what they do is, to further their business, what they do then is they say to the banks, well, I've got 7.5 billion head of cattle here set to return through taxing and stuff, other means as well, but taxing's an easy one. This amount of money over the course of, say, 30 years. So my workforce will last for 30 years at least, most likely 60, at which point I'll come back for a second loan, but I'll have a 30-year loan. That's just like taking out a 30-year mortgage with the people of planet Earth, the general population of planet Earth, as your capital in that loan, as your, you know, what it is that these people can then weigh it up against. That's ultimately how we are viewed by these people, in my opinion. This is why you're registered at birth to the country, so you are now an employee of the state, to pay taxes to the state, so that they can repay their loans that they've taken out based on you, the physical capital. If you're not angry about that, well, then there's something wrong. If you're not disgusted by that, well, then there's something wrong, because that disgusts me and it angers me to think that these people get away with this. They get away with it. And then ultimately, as another good business model, they want you gone before they've got to pay anything back. Your redundancy pay is your pension. And ultimately, when they've got to let you go, they don't want to pay you redundancy. So they'll just make sure that there's enough chemicals floating around in your diet that you will probably die before the age of pension. It's good business, bro. Tell me that's not good business. They want the most income with the least outgoing. That's what they want. They want to earn the most amount of money. They want the most amount of return for their investment. And they don't want to give anything back. They want as little outgoings as possible. That's just bloody business. And as a business person, apparently you have to have zero empathy. Or at least as little empathy as possible, because of the cutthroat things you have to do in order to make it in business. In that sense, I would say these people fit the bill 100%. There is absolutely nothing that is a mediating factor and a mitigating factor in all of that. They quite literally fit the bill 100% to moralistically and empathy deleted businessmen. Is moralistically even a word? It is now. But anyway, so now we can see the plan, right? What they want is to keep us subdued just a little, so we can go about our daily work, but that's it. So these things in your diet, they're not meant to kill you outright. You know, taking out fucking plastic bottles from your diet, it's not going to do a fucking thing. It's not going to do anything, because you're getting it on your fruit. You take the fruit out of your diet. You're getting it in your meat, because they pump the animals full of shit. You stop eating meat, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You know, you drink tap water. Fuck me, in order to get by in this world, you need a science lab to reverse all of the crap that's been done to everything that you consume. Who's got the time? Who's got the money? When the system is created to such a level that stops you having any time or leisure or any money to spend on anything. Nowadays, it requires 2 people in a household to work full-time jobs in order to survive. The cost of living has crept up to such a degree that it now requires 2 people to survive. 2 people working. Rewind time 50 or 60 years, people could get by on a single person's wage. Hence the family unit. I wonder why. Because it's all a bloody projected plan. We look back, we can see the plan. In 100 years' time, depending on what's happening now, we'll be able to see what's going to happen, man. In 100 years. Or in 100 years' time, at least, we'll see the steps that got us there. just like we can now. The destruction of the family unit, man. It all goes part and parcel to the global domination thing. They don't want people being raised properly. They want your children raised by the state. So what they do is they create a system. They hike up the cost of living to such a degree that it takes both parents to have to work. You know, in contrast, 50 or 60 years ago, a man would go out to work and the mother would stay at home with the children and raise the children as the family sees fit to raise those children. Which means the children are being raised by their parents, therefore their parents are able to impose their views and opinions, work ethics and such like. And this is how it works. However, now you've got to hand your children off as soon as possible to the state. Have you noticed, you know, you can send your kids to school now at such a young age. Nursery is now like reception, stuff like this. You've got the ability now to palm your kids off at a very, very young age. And most people need to in order to survive. And that's by design, trust me. Because they want your children raised by the state so the state can decide what their morals are, what their opinions are, how they think. That's why the system is structured the way it is these days. That's why it takes two people to have to work in order to fucking survive. Because they want your kids. This is slowly turning into a fascistic, communist world. It's cultural Marxism, man. That's where we find ourselves these days. And it's been slowly embedded over the course of years. And I tell you what, it's so clever the way they've done it. It's so clever. They've worked off of our own pride, our own sense of fucking worth, and turned it against us. We now believe that the patriarchy wants to hold women back by saying that it's okay to be a fucking mother who looks after her children. That's now apparently a fucking toxic man thing to say. Who is better to look after the kids? The fucking government? The state? I doubt it. I would say that the mother of the children is the best person to look after the children. Who else would be a better person to look after the kids? If you can fucking tell me who else is better to look after the children in a household, then you put in the comments and let me know, because I'd love to hear it. Because I'm telling you now, no one's better off looking after the kids than the mother themselves, should that mother be of sound mind. I mean, but yet it's not okay now to say that, because, you know, you're holding a woman back. It's what I mean. Everything's been turned on its head. And now, in order for a woman to feel like she's valid in life, she has to go out and be a fucking builder. You know, put on a pair of fucking pit boots and swing a pickaxe around, smashing up bits of concrete. You know, to make her feel like she's a woman. Where's the sense in that? It's mad. I would say it's one of the most honourable things for a woman to raise her children. Why not? Jesus Christ. But oh no, give your kids to the state so you can go and swing a fucking lump hammer around. Fucking do it for me. I'm not bothered. I'm just saying that the system itself is designed to actually cripple the social structure that binds us all together, that gives us strength in numbers. And the more you look at it, the more you realise that that's the case. I mean, no wonder they're putting like soy and everything that is like an estrogen. Fucking, it makes estrogen produced in the body. So men nowadays are having soy products that creates estrogen that makes them less like men. Estrogen is a female hormone. So I know, yeah, let's make the men less like men, and let's make the women more like men. Why? Unless it's meant to upset the balance of things. I could do a masculine. I've already done a toxic masculinity / divine masculine and divine feminine and toxic femininity video before. So you should go back and have a look at that divine feminine, divine masculine video. I mean, I could do another one. I probably will at this point. With all of the trans issues that are going on right now, I perhaps should. I believe it needs to be revisited. But right now, there is a chemical war happening that's not meant to kill you outright. Fuck me, that was a big digression, wasn't it? There's a chemical war that is designed to keep you alive for a certain amount of time before they've got to give anything back. Because this is Earth Incorporated, and you are the capital, you are the assets, the business assets. All right, you are the machine. The workforce is the machine. And we're all cogs and pistons and bits of fucking sheet metal that make the world go round. It's what we are. That's well, it's not what we are, but it's the way we are seen, and it's how we are treated. So, by all means, take these chemicals out of your bottles and your frying pans and your whatever, but you can guarantee that they are going to do what they can to keep them in other areas, which they already do. They're not gonna, it's a rigged game. They're not gonna give you any way of getting out of it unless we get out of it ourselves and demand reform, unless we demand a change in the way that things are done, and we stand side by side and break the fucking programming and say no to these people. I don't know how it works. I just know it's what we need. And on that note, this is Crag Course signing off. I'm going to wish love and peace, as usual, to all things everywhere. Peace.